Good evening, dear sisters and brothers. Welcome to today's session on being heartful every day. We are on day 54 in the quality of the week. We are looking at developing in this week is simplicity. While we have been doing this for a whole week now, today is the fourth day on how to develop simplicity. Before we really start, I just want to bring this to your attention. My name is Prasanna Krishna. I'll be facilitating this session today. I request each one of us to share master classes to one or two friends and family members who are not familiar with heartfulness, so they can start the practice. And also share this program, Being Heartful Every Day, with one or two people who are practicing, because those of us who have been participating in this have found this tremendously beneficial to us. We move on to the inspirational reading portion of it. Yesterday we were discussing about, we read about how developing this simplicity is not so simple, because when we start the practice, we move from a seeker to a student, to a novice practitioner, to a committed practitioner. And then Master said, this is where a journey begins. At this stage, we begin to get a glimpse of the work of the guide. But it is not until we become an adept practitioner that sorry, I'll read that again. But it's not until we become an adept practitioner that we start to really develop faith in him, accept him with all our being, and fully surrender to him. This requires transcendence of the ego. And while we willingly take help from the guide for our onward journey, our part in this development is to refine our character and behavior, the human side of life. Spiritual growth is the work of the guide, and character development is our work. Both have to go hand in hand for us to grow. Actually, it's character that is the foundation for spirituality. Real expansion happens only when there is both vertical growth and horizontal growth in proportion to each other. Ego is not the enemy. It's a great instrument, a great friend. The word ego was popularized by the founder of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud, and his colleagues in the early 20th century, although it has been described in many thousand years in the yogic literature as one of the subtle bodies, ahankar, as described above. This subject is so vast that it's not possible to cover here, but suffice to say that the science of ego was explored in depth by the ancient sages of the East, and that exploration has evolved even more deeply during the last 150 years. We'll come back to this diagram of the 23 rings. During the last 150 years by yogis. During roughly the same period as Freud and Western psychology has taken up this topic in earnest. Yoga describes ahankar as one of the subtle bodies and one of the functions of the mind. The identity that the soul as the self takes to navigate this earthly domain. It cannot be destroyed, nor should it be, as our own existence as individuals depend on it. In the spiritual journey, the ego is refined and purified stage by stage, and its major refinement is associated with chakras 6 to 12 of the mind region, also defining the rings of ego. All this is laid out beautifully in Babuji's books, Reality at Dawn and Towards Infinity. I suggest we spend time on this diagram by reading Reality at Dawn and towards infinity. Basically, there are 23 rings, the center being the goal, and we move from the outside, the heart region, cross these 5 circles, which corresponds to each of the 5 points in the heart region. And then we transcend these 11 circles of ego and then reach the 7 rings of splendor before any of us can go into the center region. So I suggest we should read Reality at Dawn and Towards Infinity for more details. Master also explains the various chakras or the knots, starting with Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Nabhi chakra, and then what heartfulness has expanded into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the other chakras, including SDK, Sasudalkamal. As we refine our ego, our ever-changing perspective is just like that of a mountaineer climbing up to the peak. In fact, until we reach a certain elevation in our spiritual journey, we are not able to let go and manifest the capacity of surrender that results in simplicity. That particular elevation is known as Chakra 9 in the spiritual anatomy, associated with the region of Prapanna. We can say that at this stage is the real beginning of the process of simplification, which continues to refine as we progress further. Chakra 9 is still nowhere near the ultimate state of simplicity. At Chakra 9, we start to really cooperate with the work, with the guide, cultivating those behaviors and habits that support his effort to shatter the network. Such habits are outlined in Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali, removing unwanted tendencies through yama, cultivating the noble qualities through niyama, good postures through asana, balancing the energetic body through pranayama, regulating the senses through pratyahara, and simplifying the thoughts to a single focus on the goal through dharana, regulating the mind from thought to feeling to becoming to being to non-being through dhyana, and arriving at the original state of samadhi. Another way of representing the same aspects is through these 10 principles that originated in Babuji's 10 maxims. They contain the same content in more modern context. Of course, Babuji gave us principles, gave us practical solutions. So there the heartfulness practices. So there is heartfulness practices and meditations for all these aspects, which is described in detail in the literature of heartfulness. I think let's pause our reading here, reflect on what we read so far, specifically regarding the chakras and the importance of chakra 9, the 9th chakra, where we reach the state of prapanna. So let's spend some time introspect on this before we get into the heartfulness universal prayer. Yeah, it's 9 p.m. now. So let's slip into universal prayer. And today being a Friday, after the universal prayer for about 8 to 10 minutes, let's slip into meditation, because Daji will be giving a setting up to 9:30, and I'll indicate when we can slip into meditation. So let's commence the universal prayer. Today's session will be till 9:30. We sit comfortably, close our eyes, get into a very deep prayerful attitude, and pray that all brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and real faith is growing stronger in them. I'll repeat that. All brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and real faith is growing stronger in them. हम अपनी आराम से बैठ के अपना आंखें बंद करेंगे और गहरी प्रार्थना भाव में गुजर जाएंगे और ये प्रार्थना करेंगे कि सभी भाई बहन प्रेम और भक्ति से भर रहे हैं और उनमें सच्ची श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती जा रही है। फिर से बोलूंगा, सभी भाई बहन प्रेम और भक्ति से भर रहे हैं और उनमें सच्ची श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती जा रही है। Let's continue our prayer for about 8 to 9 minutes, after which we'll slip into meditation. Let's slowly slip into meditation. Daji is giving us all a sitting, which will continue till 9:30. Let's get into meditation while retaining the prayerful mood that all brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and real faith is growing stronger in them. So let's sit for meditation, but try to retain this prayerful state. While we formally end this session, those of us who feel like continuing can continue our meditation till we feel happy about it. Let's formally close the session with a general reminder that we'll meet again tomorrow at 6 a.m. Thank you. A very heartfelt thanks to all of you. Thank you and good night.